I'm going to be focused on 5 points which have been picked up very quickly by all of the parties, panelists. And the 5 which I'm identifying on are basically taxation, which I think has got to be the elephants in the room, which has got to be raised. A little bit about research. The impact where I think most inbounds I will deal with are small, medium enterprises, people and property, which are some of the issues being picked up today. But if I stay on the tax side of things, well, looking at tax, effectively, the UK, we in PwC have been doing a survey which is being worked with the World Bank and various other organisations called the Total Tax Contribution Survey. The last survey put us actually in 16th place in the ease of paying taxes and the level of taxes within the UK. The new survey, 2009, has not yet been issued, but it still hasn't changed us in rank position. So the UK as a tax place, tax is not as bad as people think. And so therefore you have to actually pick up where does the 50% band leave us. Well, this is a new tax rate which is going to arise in the UK from April next year. We might as well recognise it's going to be there for any of the people who earn over 150,000. But most of the inbound clients, when they're actually employing people, this isn't going to be as important to them unless they're in a few specialised areas. So 50% tax is something we have to get used to, though most other countries in the world will be increasing taxes. So in itself, I don't see tax as a major issue. And that's borne out by some of the surveys we've got. So we've got an enterprise survey result, which is a survey which PwC has commissioned. And we do that hand in hand with The Economist. And as you can see, without reading these through, tax isn't a major concern to most of the panelists who actually responded to that survey. So moving on, Barbara, to the next slide. So what, in the tax environment, what works here? Well, the tax world we're working in, the UK still has a lot in favour of it, and when I say UK, I say London, because these are available to all the clients I tend to deal with in London. First is we have an excellent research and development allowance scheme. That tends to put us quite high up in the type of clients who are looking into developing new ideas or groundbreaking ideas, and that's available to all industry sectors as long as you can fall within those component parts. Our corporation tax rate is still one of the lowest in Europe. It ranges from 21 to 28%. We have no withholding taxes on dividends. And generally, when the rest of the world is actually starting to tighten up on stock options and rules to impact on employees, the UK stock option arrangements for inbounds tends to be quite favourable, and we have schemes such as the Entrepreneurial Management Incentive Scheme, which is very favourable when it's married against our UK capital gains tax rate. So from a tax perspective, I think we just need to recognise that there are issues and there are pain to be recognised, but tax isn't something which really, I think, impacts on the inbound. The UK market in this tech side is quite substantial, and really, without reading off this, again, another survey performed by PwC, we expect the media and tech market to be increasing substantially, especially as the recession moves as we move out of recession. And based on current survey results, we'll expect the market by 2013 to be worth 61 billion. So the market here is substantive. Another survey, which is not a PwC survey this time, but basically is that most companies are having to consider globalization. And the UK may not be always the first port of call, but it is one which is considered mainly because of all the reasons Mark and Bill have raised for actually choosing a place to actually base a business for Europe. I'm now going to actually move on to the second issue, the small, medium enterprise sort of groups. Where are we with the small, medium companies? And I'm just basically saying that I work generally with this market sector. Most of the inbounds I will deal with are within this area. The innovation they bring here and what is available to those types of companies is substantial. And the growth in the sector is also going to be quite substantial in the years to come. I've been focusing on this, and we as PwC now have increased our approach towards SMEs and recognise this is where the biggest elements of a market growth will be. Taking on also the SMEs will also have got opportunity for more contracts, especially as the government has now been talking about cuts within its public services. You're going to start seeing more opportunity for businesses, especially the ones which are able to get access to the government contracts, to take some of those outsourced contracts on board. We're also going to see that small medium enterprises, which are the businesses in London, they're going to be playing a bigger part. The government's trying to give more public access to the contracts, and they're setting up websites and so on to actually enable small medium enterprises to access these contracts directly. And that's borne in mind by a comment made by Mark, where he basically said that a similar sort of approach has been taken with regard to the 2012 games, where he was saying that, again, it's about access to the contracts and the business, which will help some of the inbound businesses grow here. I'm picking up a point again raised by Mark and Bill. It's where people's situation stays. I'm not going to go over all of the issues raised by my two previous panellists. One of the issues I think you've got to raise is immigration. Immigration in the UK has now settled. The point system which has been introduced has now not become as problematic as it was maybe a couple of months ago. I actually think it's no longer a major issue on help with clients coming to the UK. Some of the issues I do think have been picked up with the package and benefits is, yes, Bill was right about the issue that salaries are reduced. Some of the requirements of the salaries or what people want have their demands have lowered. But you are going to have to recognise that as the recession moves forward, as we move out of recession, we're going to have to become a little bit more sort of understanding of what can be done with regard to the package and benefits to incentivise people within this market. And again, London tends to be at the forefront for a number of these different issues. We recognise what can be done, as a lot of the people paid through as London employees tend to be at a more higher level, so we tend to have not only that flexibility in labour, but we also have flexibility in some of the approaches of how taxation of either expats or local hire is actually accounted for. So there are lots of opportunities there to manage that cost. One of the other factors I've raised on there is the next area is property. I'm not going to go into detail on this again in the interest of time, but generally I agree with all the comments made by the other panellists. The property market has suffered in London and the UK as a whole. We're now starting to see certain successes within that whole arena, and we're now seeing that we're getting more opportunity to look for property planning ideas to come through. One of the things I've been actually talking to my inbounds is, once you've got property, it's a way how can you manage what you've got and embrace and take on board opportunities to reduce your cost and manage this going forward, especially as probably some of the rates will start to increase in the very much short term. Where will the market go? Well, I'm now seeing an increase in London inquiries. I'm starting to see not only inquiries coming through to me, but from not only the tech and the media, but lots of other areas of clients wanting to come to London. I agree with Bill's comment, this is the right time to look to opportunities in London. It's a time when there is more accessibility to not only suppliers but to lots of other opportunities which are here, and it's a time for lots of for clients to actually consider how they would enter this market.